Hey everyone, welcome back to our Build Along series with LearnBook and Noodle. So there's a couple of things to look at if you've watched episode 8 and before. You'll see that I was working on lesson creation, and one thing I wanted to show you was from I think maybe episode 6 or 7, where I said that the designer was going to start working on updates to the login screen. So I took a break with the login workflow because the designer was integrating some changes, and those changes are now done. So we have this lovely flow between the different types of login possibilities, like if you're a teacher or a training organization or a learner. So we got this thing where if you're a teacher, we kind of like repeat the question, are you a independent teacher or are you working with a training organization? Because we want to make sure that if the teacher's saying, yeah, I am a teacher, but I'm part of a training organization, that then they get to this screen where it says, please enter the code that your training organization gave you. Contact your organization if you've not received a code. So that will then make them think, oh, right, okay, I actually need to get my boss to sign up if I want to be part of a training organization. Or go back and then say, actually, you know what, I'll sign up as an independent teacher. And it'll be clear somehow, we'll make it clear that this is free and free forever. And this, when you're a member of a training organization, that's paid by the training organization. So just to let teachers know, yeah, you can sign up as an independent. You don't have to join a training organization straight away. So that's going to be a very straightforward workflow. That's great. And she also delivered another thing. Well, they got profile page. It was pretty nifty. And she delivered this concept that we had that we're going to have to work out. And I'll show you later, not today, but away. It's going to be exciting. I'm just talking about it now to build up the tension, because I learned that because this default backend, the default backend for Noodle is based on MongoDB with parse, you can still leverage that amazing power of MongoDB to use JSON format to create things. And I worked on a project where the form fields that were created were actually created dynamically. So you could let the user create an array of form fields. Like, so say, for example, this is my create a learner form. So we have default fields like first name, last name, email address, group, client name, and then we have add a field. So say I want to add a field like level. I think she actually did an example. Yeah, like say I want to add a field and I want to add there we go, drop down field. So I'll do like type of field, drop down, name of field, level, and then I'll get this this kind of thing here, level, drop down. Maybe I set the values of the drop down myself, for example, and then I can edit that field and change it as well. So that's going to be really fun to do that, to enable the system where essentially each field is an object in an array, and you can add your own object to the array with the, name equals, name is blah blah, type of field is blah blah, and then that loads up. We go and look in the database and load that array every time we load up your particular form, and your form will look different than the next user's form. So this is a really powerful thing that Noodle can do, just because it's able to work so easily with arrays and objects, inserting objects into arrays, taking them out, working with objects, like changing the value of the object when somebody changes the field. So it's tricky. It's really tricky to get set up, but once you have it set up, it's just fabulous. And then you can just copy that same format for any app you work on that would have this kind of need for custom fields. Very exciting. Anyway, I'll not talk about that all night. Let's go back to where we were with creating a course. So just a reminder, we were working on this workflow with the intention of sketching it out to enable me to think about the structure of the database in terms of lessons, sections, and messages. If I start fleshing out what it is to create a new lesson, then I'll start wondering about what will it be to copy a lesson, and how should they be stored, how should they be retrieved, what is it to add a learner and add a group. It's another interesting thing to try to do. With the extra fields, the advanced parameters, what will that be represented as in the database? Creating it, I think, creating the form to create it gives you a really good idea of what you actually want to put in the database as well. I already know roughly what fields I want, but going from this perspective, I find it to be really, really, really helpful. So we got to here. And last time I was a bit too tired to get into this kind of stuff, doing learners and groups. This already made me think about, so this is, you've created your lesson. You want to already assign that lesson to a learner or to a group. So just as a reminder, that helps me to think about the database of learners and groups, because a group is 2 or more learners, and a learner is just a 1-person group. So, Adeline Adam is a learner, but also she's appearing here because we have an Adeline Adam group. And you might wonder, like, why do we need a group if it's just 1 person? The objective of having a group is I can have a group with like a learner's field, a teacher's field, so I know who in that group is given what kind of permissions. It's kind of like a view only and an edit type situation. The teachers can edit, the learners can view only, and so that will help us to manage who can do what inside a group, even if it's just 1 person versus a teacher. They'll be able to manage permissions. So let's have a think about what we're going to do about this. So essentially, where's my Miro board? If we think about this, in terms of our little data diagram. So yeah, we said that group was going to have a field called solo group. So I'm not 100% sure about that one, but or is it better to have a Boolean value solo group, or is it better to have a count, like number of learners in group, and then make it like if the learners are equal to 1, then it's solo, and if it's more than 1, then it's not solo. And it might kill 2 birds with 1 stone, because then we can use that count as the field that gives like group with a parentheses next to it, like group name, parentheses, and how many learners are in that group. So maybe let's go for learner count and do that as an integer field instead. So I'm not going to do relations, I don't think, or will I? Maybe relations. And then we can count up the relations field to say how many learners there are in there. Or do we do pointers for the learners to say I am in X group? No, because a learner could be, let's do like learner first name, last name, associated user. So a learner is going to be in a learner is going to be in a class of its own. Even though there's a user class, not all users are going to be learners. So we're going to have quite a few fields for learners, as you saw. Like there's going to be custom fields and everything for learners, like level and objectives and client name and stuff like that. It's not going to be the same for a teacher, for example. So I don't want to have that multitude of learner fields in the user class when a lot of users will never use any of those fields, and so it just makes for a sort of fatter database for no reason. So this is going to be a string and a pointer. pointer to, how did they know? I think they annotate it like this, to user class, something like that. I think is how they annotated in the Noodle backend. So associated user. So yeah, the question was, the first idea I have was, oh well, let's do belongs to group and then do a pointer to the group class. But I don't like that because it's almost certain that one learner will belong at some point possibly to multiple groups. So like say they've just done a course with a teacher in 2022, they really enjoyed it. Now they're coming back in 2023 to do a course. Okay, you could argue, well, point to the active group and forget about their old group. But then what if they want to go back to their old group and have a look at stuff that they've done before to get some revision on some language they learned in a previous lesson? Well, if you've removed the pointer, then how do you know what group they belong to? So we need to be a little bit more thoughtful about this. If one learner can belong to many groups and one group has many learners, then I would say the group should have learners field, which is relation field to learners class, and it should have a teachers field, which is a relation to the user class, because teachers are users, not learners. It's user or users, I can't remember. Users. Something like that. Okay, so why that? So this means that when we add a relation, every time we add or remove a relation, we should count how many relations there are and then add that in as an integer. And that means I can tell if it's a solo group or not and filter that way. Yeah. I think that's the right way to do that. Yeah. Okay. Let's try it out. So let's change these pills. First of all, not dashboard, my content. No, not that one. What's my, well, I don't even remember why I added that one. So let's just do learner and groups. And we're gonna have did she have a count? Yes, she does have a count. Let's learners and groups. Default, yep. So we'll have a learners tab, and so this is not the right way to do it, because we have no way to know which one is outputting when. So yeah, that's not what we wanted. Filter default pill, that one's okay, leave that one the way it is. Okay, what we're going to do is we have static arrays. Can you call a static array? Or do we need to make an array and feed the static array into the array, maybe? Let's find out. Okay, let's do array tests, Noodle arrays, like this maybe. Learner and groups. Is that an array or not? No, it doesn't like that, does it? No, it should like that. Oh, it's because it's not a string. Oops. It should like it, but it doesn't. Why on earth not? You don't need a dot in that case. Okay, sorry. No, it doesn't work. So the name of the array. It should work though. It's weird. Recipe list. Maybe a static array just doesn't get outputted as a real array. Yeah, that'll probably do it. But then arguably, should we not just do the arrays directly in the function? Or maybe it's nicer to have them out here because we can edit them a bit more easily. The function might end up getting very long if we start putting all these arrays in there. So let's just call that and see what happens. Yeah, there you go. That's good. So that's what I wanted to know, if that would do that, because I'm gonna call this one dashboard pills. Gonna call this one learner. We're gonna call this one something that I'll recognize, because now we're in the realm of using the array IDs naming convention thing, whatever. So it means that wherever I add arrays in the future, I'm going to end up with learners and groups in the list. So if I'm in another screen, weeks away, and I'm adding an array to a learner creation screen, for example, and I'm like, learners and groups, what was that about? I'll not remember. So it's better if I do like learners, groups, pills, something like that. And then we're going to need to change this. It means it's available everywhere, which is cool, but it just, well, I'll get confused. I know I will. If I put pills, then I know what I mean. I know what I'm talking about. If I put dashboard pills, then I know what I'm talking about. So, and my content. What the hell was my content about? Why did I do that? My content. Don't remember. I didn't even have any data in there, for goodness sake. My content. What was the plan, man? Oh, whatever. We only have dashboard in that for the moment. So we have the arrays. We're going to stick them a bit like further away, like down here or something. Put them in a little array staging ground. And then here we're going to say picker pills. Okay. So we're going to do a switch. And the switch is going to be inputs, oh no, inputs pill type, and if the pill type is dashboard, what did I call it? Dashboard pills, group picker pills. Let's call them the same thing. So this is going to be learners, groups, pills. Sounds really weird, but whatever. And yeah, so this one is learners, groups, pills. It's just so that I know how to name it a bit more easily. So, dashboard pills, outputs, pill array, we're going to just make it up, equals Noodl dot arrays dot learners groups pills, break, and then case learners groups pills is going to be outputs pill array Noodl arrays, silly me, dashboard pills, brackets, and then we are done. So then in theory the output is going to be whatever, yeah, the output is going to be the output's going to be whatever the state currently is going to force this particular output is going to reference one of these arrays. And so I can add, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 arrays here in the future, and all I have to do is go in and add the different switch cases to get it to output the right array on the right page. So I know that if I'm in here, it's gonna, oh, it doesn't output anything, yay, wonderful. So input was group picker pills, huh? Okay, but I don't have group picker pills anymore. I have learners groups pills. So why is it still calling itself group picker pills? Because it's broken. There we go. So we've got recent and upcoming, that's cool. Yeah. And then, so that's on the dashboard page that we made a long time ago that doesn't work yet. And if we go here, it doesn't output anything because it still thinks it's called group picker pills. Wonderful. Because I inputted group picker pills, that's why. Muppet. So let's get the picker. And pill type states is, no, it's not that. Pill type component inputs, pill selector, pill type, learner group pills. There she blows. Nice. Looking good. I don't know where the count is coming from, but let's figure that out in a second. Where would the count be coming from? Oh yeah, because I put in a test number. That makes a bit more sense. Let's enlarge this. It's looking a bit silly. Okay. We need a little bit more spacing in between these guys, do we not? It's supposed to be text width. Do we have a max width by accident? No. Is it the layout string? No. Okay, figure that one out later, I guess. Okay. So back to our lesson creation step learners group picker. Okay, what we want is that when we tap on one of these groups or learners, that will cause something to be added into an array somewhere to then, or to an object to then in the next phase say that that's going to be assigned to that person. I think in the design there was supposed to only be one. So I select one person and that says I'm going to assign it to that one person. Yeah, so we actually wanted to kind of assign it to to an object to say this one has been selected. Now there is one selected, so either we clear it or we carry on, and that's the person that the lesson is going to be assigned to. So in the repeater, we need to say that when this is clicked, there's going to be a parent component object with a parameter called group selected, and that's going to be, what is it, group name? Oh, ID. It's going to be the ID of the object, and it's going to be, no, it's going to be set parent group object. Yeah. So we're going to set that group selected to be the group name, no, the ID, so we can get the group, and then it's only when we click that will select that group selected. And then if the group is selected, we want to make a state that is called, so first one will be unselected, if that's even a word, selected, and it's going to be background color. No, because we're not going to see the learner being selected here. Forget that. No, I was thinking we're going to style the background and make the text white, but actually we're not, because that'll maybe come later. But right now we're just selecting one learner. It should appear in a kind of field that I can then X out of or just carry on. So if I've set the group selected, then we want to have this group will disappear. Group picker will disappear. We're going to unmind it. We're going to unmind it if, so when selected group is not equal. Oh, I already have a thing called selected group. What the heck? Where did I put selected group? Okay, well, whatever, just call it selected group then. When you don't remember doing something, you know, crazy. So this is group selected undefined. If group selected is not undefined or empty, then it's going to mount the button and it's going to unmount if it's false. Oh no, if it's true, it's going to, no, if it's false, it unmounts the picker. So if it's not true that it's empty, that is to say, no, it's not empty, therefore it is empty. Therefore you want to have the group picker. If you've picked something, then it is not empty, and therefore you can mount the going ahead button and that field that we saw. So this is a pretty universal field. I've seen it in a lot of places in the design. So let's make this field with, the text inside that can be cleared, but it's not an input. So this is like a group with a text and an icon, and the text is the text of the object that's been selected. So this is going to be called single select input, although it's not an input. It's going to have a text inside it and an icon. The icon is a little mini X. What's an X in Google language? Times? No. Multiply? No. Exit? No. Close? Yes. How big is it? It's LearnBook Orange, and it is 10 by 10. It's going to be quite small. We'll see. Might make it a bit bigger. LearnBook Orange, and the text is LearnBook Blue. And is it bold? No, it's just regular body size. And the frame is blue with 6 pixels of roundedness, of radius. And it is just the width of its text and button. The text is the width of its text, and the icon is already the width of the icon, and the input is text. And the output is clear button clicked. Can I click an icon? No. Give this a little bit of padding maybe. Oh, we'll see. We'll see what it looks like visually in a minute. So clear button clicked will do an action outside the group. So this is the single select input. This is the clear button. This is the object label, object name, let's call it. Okay, so that's going to go next to the subtitle. Single select input. It's going to be a horizontal group. Unknown node. Oh yeah, this is a funny little bug. Maybe it's fixed by the time you're watching this video, but sometimes placing nodes, it just is like, oh, I don't know what this node is anymore. I've decided just exit and re-enter it. Normally works. See? And there she blows. So you're a bit small. What's going on? First of all, your vertical layout, not horizontal. Second of all, the icon needs to be centered. And maybe a bit of padding. Yes, and maybe a bit of padding here. Just to make it the clickable area a little bit bigger. And it is too small. I don't like that it's 10. Let's make it 16 like it was before. It makes a bit more sense. And then the text could have maybe some padding as well here it's got 15, yeah, so there's 15 horizontal gap. Oops, too much gap. My bad. Let's give it just 15 padding then. Take away the padding maybe. Still looks a bit weird. A bit less distance maybe. Yeah, it's a bit better. And the object label name looks good. Does it have enough padding on the top? No, it does not. Should be about 15 as well. Well, 10 maybe. Oops. No, it's way too much. Way too much. Yeah, that's about right. And then I like to center that object because it's a bit weird. Off kilter. Oh, that would be why as well. Explicit width, content height. It's better. There's a gap in between those two as well. 10. So this one has to be mounted when we've actually selected somebody. So if we've selected somebody, then this group is, let's say is true, just so we're really clear on it, is mounted. And the person who's been selected, which is a group in this case, I was about to put a record node down, just, you know, this, which might, it's not too bad actually, that's fine. I always hesitate when I'm thinking about putting a record node down, because it's going to do a database call. Every time you put down a record node, it does a database call, and that in itself is no big deal. You can get the data back. It's a very quick, half a second job. But what if you end up having that inside a repeater, and it ends up making that one record call each cell? So then you've got like 10 half a second calls, and suddenly you're waiting 5 seconds for the repeater to load. So I hesitate, but here it's going to be one learner per, one group per lesson that you're creating, and so that should be okay. We don't actually have a group class, so that's funny. I'm going to create a group class. We said we were going to have a group name, which is going to be a string, which is required. We're going to have a learner count, which is not required, because you might create a group with no learners in it. We don't want to, required is going to be when I use the create node, or the whatever, you know, the create node. If I leave one of the inputs empty and it's required, then it'll fail the create node. So I don't want to risk it if it's not really necessary. So learner count's okay. And then, oops, we also wanted to add a relation field, which is going to be called teachers. And we actually don't have a learners class either. That's not going to help us. Okay, we're using singulars apparently because I said group, and also because the defaults are user and session. So we said we're going to have first name. Don't need to make it mandatory. Last name. Pointer to an associated user. So a pointer is just going to give one unique ID, one object ID in that field that is of user class, and it just makes it easier to filter on certain things like user field points to, and then you can just put an input from another user object ID and it'll evaluate that. So that's associated user. Not required because you might add learners sometimes without necessarily creating a user account, possibly. So let's just not shoot ourselves in the foot right now. And what else did we say? Where was my Miro board? Miro. Learner, account teachers, learners, associated user. Oh, that was all we had for now. So yeah, all the relations are contained in group. So just have to remember that that's where, you know, you're not saying learners and the relation is belongs to groups. We're saying groups has learners. So I don't know exactly why. I just have a gut feeling about it. So this one is related to learners, and it's going to be called learners. There. So we've got a teacher's relation and a learner's relation, learner count. Done. Okay. So now we can say group. We can say selected group ID, and then it should fetch a group. And then the groups are going to go, the group name is going to go into this text from the selected group. Yeah. Or could we, you know what we could do as well? It's about the same thing, but it avoids maybe a database call. We can use an object and actually just give it the object ID. It means I can even use it here in testing because I just have a random object that I created. So that will go there actually. So we just need to define that it's going to receive an object where one of the fields is called name. So it doesn't really matter where the object's coming from, as long as it has a name field, then that name will go in there. And nearly group name it was called. Oops. Yeah, look at that. So using objects a bit better because we've called something probably at this point when we're actually in the whole group picker concept. It won't be a static array of groups. It's going to be a query, and it's going to say query any records where groups where the hold on a sec. You can't do it with the regular queries, can you? Dang it, advanced filters. Related to. Yeah, inputs record with a relation, key, hang on, records. We also have many relations. You can filter or all records in the collection you're querying that are related to a specific record via relation with a given key. Is this one I want? Probably. Let's try it out. So if you can't find the filter property you're looking for, then go for JavaScript filters. A little bit messy, but I've used them a couple of times before. Very, very nice. A lot of flexibility. And if you give chat, this is a little tip. If you give ChatGPT this link and use one of the plugins like Link Reader and tell ChatGPT, please read this link and then tell me how to make this and this and this filter, then it'll construct this filter for you, and it's actually pretty good at it. And it made me some really complex filters before. So input is going to be user ID, and the key is going to be teachers, I think. Must provide ID. Yes, I know. So let's give a user. This is the current user. So ID, user ID. I should probably make that into a global variable, but yeah. And so, yeah. There we go, good. Seems to be doing something. Let's maybe make a test group and test that out. So I've got a user. My test user is, let's use this one. And we're going to make a group. And this group is going to be called test group 1. The learner count is going to be nothing. The teachers, we're going to add the relation afterwards because you can't add it right now. So now I've created a row. I can go to view relation. It's going to show me all the different users that are related to this particular object. At the moment it says nothing, so you can either create a user and attach it, or you can add a row. You need to have the object ID. So I have that user ID, the one from before the other table, the users table. I can attach that. And then now that's in there. So I have that relation. So the group, if I click back, group, it still says view relations. If I go to view relations, then it shows me that one user, which is richard@digitalbricks.com. And we still have nothing, of course, because it's probably not the right way to do it. Look again. So for many relations of our relations, you can filter out all records in the collection you are querying that are related to a specific record via a relation with a given key. That's really an example. It's not great. Might be better to say contains. Yeah, maybe ID contained in. That could be easier. Maybe not. Not. Okay, let's try my little ChatGPT trick then. Can you read the following link and create a filter for me, Noodle? The parameters below. Query where the teachers field relation field contains the object ID coming from inputs user ID. That's exactly what we did before. That didn't work. Okay. I like the way that it's organized it a bit prettier though. So let's try that. So we've got the current user. Because I'm not the right user. Oh my goodness. I'm a Muppet. Okay. Muppet. So let's add another relation just to this group. That should work it out pretty well. We're going to attach an existing user. It's going to be a second teacher in this group. And so now when we go there, no, oh, I'll cry. I will cry. So this one, yes. And it's going into user ID, and then the user ID is in there in the relations of this group that is public read and write, so it should return it. The ACL is not set. Teachers. Yeah, the field is called teachers. Okay, to be continued. Anyway, that's how we would normally get our items, our group items, and then put that into the repeater. So we'll come to that a bit later. Okay, so we got this. Now we don't want this button to clear the value. And at the moment it's not doing that. What we want to do is set parent component object, and we want to set the field selected group, and it's a string, and just do a little space and delete just in case, sometimes that helps, funnily enough. And then yeah, so clear button clicked will set the component selected group property to empty. It didn't do that. Okay, value, no, string. Again, just a little, oh, that's good. Yeah, there we go. So hard force MD string into the input and then set that input. Oh yeah, awesome. The search bar should also disappear. I don't know why that's sticking around. So maybe we should actually do more like this. So text input and group picker are now in a group, and the button is down below. And so on false, it's going to hide this group. Nice. And then that button doesn't need to be all the way over to the right. Where's my Figma? No, it's left. Left it should be. Okay, nice. Oh no, where did it go? Where's my group picker? Is it because I unmounted it? Maybe. Yeah. Nice. Okie dokie. I think that'll do for tonight. That was pretty cool. Showing the power of component inputs for sure, and looking a little bit more at at showing and hiding groups and a couple of the whole JavaScript filter thing, which I think is complicated, and it's not really well documented, but we will get that working. I have done that before, and we will get that working with the groups. Or we're going to realize that we've done it the wrong way around, and it should have actually been that the learner relations, we should be looking for the learners searching for learners who have a relationship with that group, and that the relation field should actually be in the learner class. But we'll see. We'll have to work on that later. But that was pretty good. So I hope you enjoyed it, and see you next time.